Hi, this is Roger with HustlePaintball.com. Today we're going to talk about the TechT Paintball Fang trigger system for the Tippmann A5. It comes with a trigger guard, some additional hardware. Let's pull it in a little bit closer to show you how this is installed. The first thing we want to do is remove this screw, pull your bottom line off, remove this push pin and this push pin, and pull off your trigger frame. The first thing you want to do is remove the safety. Pops right out. Take out the trigger assembly, set it off to the side for now. The first thing we're going to be doing is installing the trigger guard. We need to do that by removing this screw, and this screw. So let's get started. After you've removed the screws, you want to separate the halves. Just pull this off to the side. Gently wiggle this right off. We'll take the new one. Simply slides right on back into place. Take your other half and start to reassemble. Alright, we've got our trigger guard installed. Let's move on to the trigger assembly. We want to first start by removing this plate. Comes right off, set it to the side. The next step is to remove the trigger. We want to be mindful of the spring because it can go shooting off. Just wiggle it and it'll come right up. Next step, this pin here, we're going to take it and push it through. You shouldn't require any tools at all, should be able to do it with your hands. Alright, now we want to take the pin that TechT has provided for us in their hardware pack. Notice it has a rough side and a smooth side. What we want to do is take this smooth side and push it through from the back side all the way through where we pulled the old one out. The rough side of the pin will hold it in, as you can see. I'm going to take this and set it off to the side. Okay, now that we've installed our new push pin, let's move along to the trigger. Notice they are very similar. What we want to do is take this slider and this pin and move it over to the new trigger. The easiest way to do that is to take an Allen wrench and you push the pin up with the Allen wrench from the back side. Alright, now that we've removed that, notice the hardware we have. We have the spring, the slider, and the pin. We want to take these and install them onto the new trigger. You're going to take your spring and your slider, put the spring inside the slider, slide it onto the trigger, like so. To get the pin in, you just push and hold. It should actually slide right in nicely, and it will hold like that. Okay, now that we've got that done, let's install our set screws. Now keep in mind, the longer one is for the E-grip or the basic. The shorter one is for the response trigger. Now we have a basic here, so we're going to install the longer one. Let's take your 1/16 Allen wrench and simply screw it right in. And we will touch on how to adjust this later on in the video. Now that we have our set screws installed, we want to take our trigger assembly, install our trigger. We'll install right over the pin that we put on earlier. Should go on fairly smooth. Now the next step is to install one of these springs. Now keep in mind, these springs are different weights. They adjust how hard or soft the trigger pulls. Now that's completely up to your preference. But for today, we're going to use this middle spring for us. The easiest way to install this is there's a groove inside here. You just simply slide the spring over the groove and kind of push it in. Okay, now that we have our trigger installed, we want to take the plate that we took off earlier, put it back on, snap right on. Make sure that you do squeeze it, make sure it's tight. We're going to take our trigger frame. You might have to wiggle it back and forth to make sure it's in there secure. It's in there good. Then we'll take our safety. Keep in mind, the red O-ring goes to the left side of the gun. Don't try to put it in backwards. Alright, now that we have that together, let's get this gun put back together. Alright, now that we have our gun put back together, let's take a look at this set screw. The set screw is used to adjust the length of the trigger pull. Now, some people like a longer trigger pull, some people like it shorter. It's completely up to your personal preference. Let's talk about the trigger. It's very smooth, it's machined out of aluminum, and as you saw, the installation was pretty straightforward. Now if you have any questions about this trigger, or suggestions of videos you'd like to see in the future, feel free to email us at videos@hustlepaintball.com. Remember, you can get this trigger, this gun, any other gear you need at hustlepaintball.com. Thanks for tuning in, and keep an eye out for more videos in the future.